mind. In many ways, many things that I do, I'm doing for the first time. I never used Google Plus before this class, before. I never used Tumblr. But why? But I'm comfortable in doing it because I understand the concept of the technology, right? And you want to be in that kind of position where you're confident enough that you know enough about something that no matter what you're faced with, right, you can deal with that uncertainty. Because you guys, particularly in many of the ways that you guys approach education here, you want to live in a predictable world, 100% predictable world. You want to know everything, right? That doesn't, the world doesn't work that way. We always live in uncertainty. So we cope with uncertainty, we don't eliminate uncertainty, okay? And that's something that is very, very important. You know, and if a professor tries to eliminate that uncertainty from you and make life totally, 100% certain, that's not exactly what, you know, I mean, at least from my vantage, I don't agree with that approach. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the chapter on, let's go back to where we left off in the last class. So we're agreed. I'm going to go to the calendar. We'll keep it and move. We'll keep it in move 4. We'll continue until Sunday. I got to do the UAA link that I have to take care of, and then I'll change the thing on the on Moodle so that your blog is due on Wednesday. Agreed? Okay. Yes, Madonna. Did I ever give you a chance to ask a question before I went off on my? Did you finish your question? All right. What do you want to know?
My question is: do we have to have all 3 moves? I mean, like, do we have to have the intent, the argument, and the agreement?
Well, it would be nice to see you try to use some of those.
But is it okay if we use 2 only, or all 3 have to be used?
Well, I'm not advocating you go to war, okay? But you could use a defensive move, saying if you don't do something, then we'll be forced to do something. That's a defensive move, right? I mean, I'm not saying I want to invade a country. Now, in this kind of game, you can create a coup. Now, frankly, if I'm doing this in a 300 level class, I'm expecting the students to do what? Have uprisings. You know, we'll have, in the 300 level course, we'll have countries, non-governmental organizations, multinational corporations, journalists, terrorists, terrorist groups, all kind of trying to outdo each other. That's a 300 level course. Here, it's just an introduction to what? To trying to kind of get a sense of how the world operates in this modern international system that we're in. Okay? By looking at it from the vantage point of the countries. Once you take me for a 300 level course, man, we're pushing this to another level. And we're not just doing it just in the class, we're doing it with other universities around the world that are doing the same thing. So if you think this is complicated, imagine if you have 200 countries participating, with 200 teams. We went up to 110 teams one time doing this. 110 teams. Okay? It was really exciting. And then we video linked with each other. That's 300 level. Okay, yeah.
I think I didn't get your new scenarios at home. So I've been copy-pasting the links.
I have no idea why you can't access the new scenarios from your blog or from Tumblr from home.
Oh, there's nothing that I can do about it besides copy the links.
Well, you can't get Tumblr from home?
No, I have Tumblr. I just don't see your new scenario.
Oh, no. Then who sees my Tumblr? Everybody sees it. You got to come to my office and find out what's going on.
Oh, okay.
All right? Okay. Now, all right, so this is what we talked about: ethics, morality, civil society, and sanctions. Okay? Now, human rights. Now, what is a human right? I'm asking you, what is a human right?
It's when the person has the right to live in a peaceful world and feel safe.
That's your definition.
Yeah.
How would we, as a class, define human rights? Now, this is your definition, but how many, we got 23, 24 students in this class, right? So we're tasked with trying to do what? Define human rights. So how would we go about doing it? Actually, let me get mine started like this. So how would we go about doing it? Huh?
Add everyone's definition.
All right, So what you're suggesting, Faiza, hold on a second here. Faiza, jeez, I gotta start getting this. It's taking too long to get to the recorder. Should take it out. Okay, so you're saying have everyone in the room submit, okay, their definition of human rights, right?
And like combine.
Okay. So now everybody submits the definition of human rights, and what do? We have to do what?
Combine them together.
Combine them. Well, okay, we combine them together. We put it together an Excel sheet, okay, and we put FISA, okay, Madonna, Nada, and so we'll put on the first column we'll put your names, and on the first row we'll put human rights definition. We'll put your definition for human rights, okay, right? So we list them all. So is that how we we've done that. So what's the next step?
You have to skim out.
You'll try it.
You have to do what?
Make it tight.
You have to
Tighten it up.
tighten it up, but that means what? You have to,
Agree.
you got to agree, right? You have, so you got to agree with Madonna. Okay? Do you see what's going on here? So now you got to go through a whole process, because when you take research methods, for example, there's this kind of three-step process that I always talk about: conceptualization, operationalization, and measurement. Okay? You can't measure something that isn't defined. Okay? Now, when you talk about defined, before you can't measure something that's defined, right? Which means a concept. I mean, human rights. Can you see human rights?
No.
I mean, it's a concept. It's not like an iPhone, right? So you got to get that concept out of your head onto the table in such a way that you all begin to agree that you are on the same page. Okay? So you have to conceptualize, okay, this concept in such a way that you can then begin to operationalize what it means to, what exactly human rights is, so you can begin determining whether human rights exist or they don't exist. That would be measurement, right? Now, and everybody in here may have, in the back of their minds, a different definition of human rights. Now, that's inside your brain, so you got to get it out, you got to put it on the table, and then you have to begin defining it. Now, you've defined it for yourself, but now you have to do what? Find a definition that everybody agrees on. Okay? Well, this is our classroom, right? Let's take a look at, let's say, now the next step is not only we're going to agree on what we think human rights is, let's say it's anybody who's taking a class in international studies. So now you got to take the number of classes that are taking international studies, or national relations, and then you have to somehow do what? Have a representative from each of the classes to kind of get together and put on the table the agreed upon concept of human rights. And those group individuals have to do what? Kind of iron out some sort of definition. Right? Let's make it even more complicated. Let's not only just have this going on simultaneously, let's say in international studies, but it's taking international relations, it's taking place in English. Oh my goodness, it's taking place in English. Charles, what do you think? Are we ever going to agree with the English department on human rights are? Probably not, because they're coming at it from a whole different postmodern kind of concept. They're from a different planet. Heck, they're in the humanities, right? We're in the social sciences. Forget about business. Business doesn't really care because it's all about making money, right? That's a social science comment. Do you see the complexity here? And then let's say we're going to have AUK. This defines human rights. Vis-a-vis GUST. Vis-a-vis MUN. So now you have to have representatives from AUK talking to Representative GUST. Do you see the complexity here? Yes, Madonna.
But you don't need all of these people to agree upon it, because it's already agreed upon. It's something that everyone shares.
You think everyone agrees on what human rights is?
Yeah, it's the
Well, they have signed there are charters.